As you know, last few weeks I've been talking about Doge, that Department of Government Efficiency, and I skipped a video yesterday about it. I went ahead and made just an off-grid video. We'll see how that video does today. I'm trying to do a little bit of testing on this channel. I'll get into the Doge part of it in just a second, so bear with me. To any new viewers, but doing a little testing on this channel since I got that new channel up and running. I thought I could experiment with this one, and as soon as that one gets monetized, then I can experiment with this one quite a bit. But the Doge thing seems to be working. I don't know, every now and then I get a video that doesn't do well, but for the most part they're all exceeding expectations. So like I said, I've been talking about Doge, and since I skipped a video yesterday, a lot of new developments. First things first, so there was a lawsuit filed against Elon Musk and Doge, and the White House said that Doge does not work for, or excuse me, Elon Musk does not work for Doge. I've always said that. I don't know where it came up that he was in charge of Doge. He's not. He has always been an advisor to the president. So when the White House responded to the lawsuit, they stated that he was a White House or a presidential advisor. That he has the clearances and everything, but I've said this in the past. Why is it that everybody else seems to have misconstrued this, including the media? Even Fox News was baffled by this. I thought he worked for the White House, for Doge. No, Doge has its own employees, a bunch of engineers that work for it, but Elon doesn't make a paycheck, and I think he pays some of the employees from Doge anyways, a couple of the kids. I'm going to interrupt this video real quick and ask you if you can take a few minutes, and after the end of this video there'll be an up next box. It'll take you over to my other channel. I'd really appreciate it if you watch that video. We're getting close to having enough watch time, so I like to get us over the edge, or get it over the hump before the lawnmower repair season starts. I think everybody's just jumping to conclusions, and I always say that's a mistake. You know what bothers me is people don't pay attention to what's going on in the world, yet they vote. How can you vote if you don't know what's going on? The other day I said that the Congress, the Republican Congress, is looking into mandatory spending so they can reduce taxes. Trump wants to reduce taxes. He wants to reduce taxes on Social Security. He wants to get rid of taxes for people who are on Social Security. Tips, he wants to get rid of taxes on tips. Just a bunch of different things. Well, Congress needs to pay for this. They got to pay for it. So instead of paying for it from non-mandatory spending, guess where they're going to take it from? Mandatory spending. I said that the other day. That's what they're looking into. Oh no, that's not going to happen. No, And they said that anybody who is under 63, somebody in the comment section, is going to get 33% less in Social Security than if they were to get it today. 33%. That means if you make $1,000, what is 33%? It's like 600 and 600 some odd dollars. I'm not going to try to figure it up in my head. So, you know, it's more likely that they're going to raise retirement age. That would be my suspicion. They're not going to reduce that much. They may reduce some, and I've heard some estimates at 17%, which seems a little bit more reasonable. Not that I'm in favor of any of this. I'm not. I think it's, you know, we paid into it. Here's the thing I keep thinking about. If I'd have saved that money, all those years that I spent 15% in Medicaid, Medicare, or whatever it is, and Social Security, I could have put that into a retirement plan, CDs, 401k, you know, whatever. And I could have made more than what I'm making on Social Security, because Social Security doesn't pay you anything extra. You can't make money on the money that so if you put in $100,000, you're only going to get $100,000 back, assuming you live that long. But if I put it into a CD, I'm going to make money on it. So instead of $100,000, I'm just throwing out a hypothetical number. It's not even, there's no mathematical equation to this, but let's just say that I can make $200,000, double my money on CDs over my lifetime. Then I die, in Social Security, even if I didn't use all that $100,000 that I made or put into it, I don't get it back. I mean, maybe your kids get it or something. I don't. Young children and your wife may get it, but as soon as they die, that ends. Or as soon as your child becomes an adult, that ends. But when you're in your own private funding, CDs or whatever, you can give that to your children or to your wife. Buy a new house if you die, those kind of things. So, Social Security's always been a scam. So I don't like the idea of adjusting it. That's not a good idea. There's got to be other savings, and that's what I've been trying to say. So instead of people saying, I'm going to call my congressman and say, no, you're not touching Social Security. No, you're not doing it. Go somewhere else. Not mandatory spending. You're not touching mandatory spending. You're touching non-mandatory spending. But it's punishment. It's punishment. The Republicans are trying to punish Trump for wanting a tax break. The Republicans are going to lose the House. If they mess with Social Security, they're going to lose the House, they'll lose the Senate, and they'll lose the presidency. They'll never get it back. What I would do is what Trump and Elon are doing. Looking for waste. Put all your finances and resources into that waste program. Stop sitting in these hearings and talking about it and do something. Elon, or Doge, just found $4.7 billion that was not ID'd as to where it went. They have no idea. It was just spent. Somebody spent it and didn't ID it. Well, I'm not an accountant, but I had to take accounting one semester in college. I did terrible. I passed. That's all I can say. And I don't remember anything about it. I couldn't do it if you asked me to. If my life depended on it, I wouldn't know what to do. Accounts receivable, accounts payable, blah, blah, blah. But there's a couple things I do know about it. One, you need to put a date on it. So, the other day I was telling you that there was something like 20 million people that didn't have a birth date in the field. That's just a placeholder. Everything was marked 1875. That's what the commenters are saying. That's not fraud. That was just a placeholder. Okay, if it's just a placeholder and all the dates were 1875, then why are there so many, like 1.5 million from 100-year-old to 109 years old, and there's another 2.3 million from 100 or 150, or no, excuse me, 110 to 119. No, it's not 1875. That doesn't work. Do you realize there's some people in that Social Security system that are older than the country? I think there's one person older than 300 years old. Well, the country is only, 250? It's coming up on 250. So there's some fraud going on. Stop with, what's so amazing to me is we are finding fraud in the system. And so what do? We go ask the government, what about this fraud? Oh, okay, let me explain this to you. That date thing was just a placeholder. Oh. So you're expecting me to believe the person who fraud the Social Security system is telling me the truth about the placeholder? Come on, think about it. Just for a second. If everything was 1875, then everybody's birthdays would be the same. It wouldn't be 300 years old. It wouldn't be older than the country. I don't understand that. Back to the 4.7 billion. So, accounting, a couple things I learned in accounting was, and the things that stuck, I should say. The accounts payable and receivable didn't stick. But the thing that did stick was, putting a date on the transaction, whether it was receivable or payable. And, where's this money going? You write that right down, bought a new Home Depot, something like that. That's just accounts payable. That's just, you write down where it went. But for $4.7 billion, no, maybe it was trillion. Excuse me, it's $1 trillion. $4.7 trillion. Nobody wrote down where it went. Oh no, there's no fraud. It's just a placeholder. That's all it is. We don't really need that information. You don't need to know where $4.7 trillion went to? Huh? It's got to stop. There's got to be some controls put in place. And this is what Congress should be focusing on, not mandatory spending. How about fraud? How about making a law where you have to identify where the money is going to? Maybe stop spending so much money on frivolous stuff that is easily accountable. So I don't know how you would find a nonpartisan person to come in and audit things. I know everybody thinks that Elon, he's just a all-Trumper. He's a MAGA. No, do you guys remember that he was a Democrat? So, you know, Joe Rogan, he's a MAGA. He voted for Bernie Sanders one time. So don't give me all this. I mean, you can hate on him all you want, but there's something wrong with the party that is protesting saving money, trying to find fraud, waste, and abuse. Oh no, we don't want that. Elon's going to steal it all. Fine, let him steal it all. Fine. Okay, him and Trump are out there to save the billionaires. Fine. Then why are they suggesting refunding some of the fraud, waste, and abuse money that they find back to the people? So what they're suggesting, my understanding, I could be a little bit off on numbers, is something like they're going to try to refund 33% of what they find. Now, I don't know if I'm okay with that. Here's what I'm thinking. Initially, when I heard it, I was like, no, pay off the debt. $36 trillion. We got to get that paid off. Don't reduce Social Security. That's the one thing. Don't do that. Don't mess that up. But then I got thinking, with the economy being so poor, if they could get some of that money back into the economy, that would make the economy better. And there's this thing called the Flaherty curve or something. I can't remember. Anyway, it was a guy's name. He was an accountant in the Reagan administration. He said lower taxes. This is another thing I don't understand about Republicans. Mandatory spending, we've got to get rid of, got to reduce our mandatory spending. Is in the Flaherty curve, the less taxes you put on a person, the more revenue the government makes. Well, how's that possible? It's pretty simple, and it's been proven several times. You reduce taxes, that gives more money to the people. What do the people do with money when they have it? They spend it. So they spend it, the corporation makes money, so they pay taxes. So let's say you had tax at 20% and you only had $1,000 or $100 taxed. So 20%, so you made $120. But you reduce the money, the tax, to 10%, but then you make $1,000. So you're taxing $1,000. So what is that? Is $1,100? So that's how the thinking is. If you're putting more money into the economy, more people are paying taxes on more purchases versus just taxing everybody to death. And the thing is the people get things they want. So this really bothers me that the Republicans, I've already wrote my congressman and said, hey, no, don't touch mandatory spending. If you need to take money from somewhere, take it from non-mandatory. Stop giving money to Ukraine, whatever. This has got to stop. I mean, appropriation bills, it's just so frustrating. So here's 1960. This is just an example. NPR was developed because radio and TV and all that were just starting to come out, and not everybody had access to a radio station. So the government started public broadcast money. They gave out public broadcast money. But now nobody needs it. Viewership and listening audience has decreased substantially over the years on NPR, but we just keep giving them more and more and more money. Making radio stations and TV channels compete against government money. I mean, think about how inefficient the post office is. We give them billions and billions of dollars every year, and they just keep getting worse and worse every year. But if you let someone compete in the market, they have to find efficiencies. If you just keep giving them money, they're not going to do it. The thing I don't like about appropriation bills, easy to put in your little wish list on an appropriation bill. Oh, you know, I'd like to have a new bridge in Louisiana. Or NPR, I'd like to have NPR. But then when you want to get rid of it, it's impossible to get rid of. Nobody wants to get rid of NPR. They're afraid to vote on it. So they sneak it in, nobody knows about it, nobody reads the bill, you know, it's a 10,000 page bill. They vote on it, you know, like December 3rd, or, you know, right before the government shutdown. Nobody has a chance to read it. And then when you read it, you're like, hey, why are we spending billions over here? Let's get rid of that. But nope, they can't do it. So call your congressman, tell them, or write, it's pretty easy. You just type in your city, you say congressman for your town or your county. It'll pop up. You click it, it'll take you right to your congressman. They have a web page right there where you just enter in the information. And tell them, do not cut mandatory spending. Do not cut Social Security. Now, they're talking about Medicaid and putting work requirements on Medicaid recipients from like people 19 to 49 years old. That's okay. I mean, I understand that. But to reduce retirement funding, you know, call them, say no, don't do it. They're going to punish you for a tax break is what they're going to do. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video on my other channel. I really appreciate it if you could watch it. So hope I can inspire you to call your congressman. So you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.